We live definitely on Facebook and YouTube.
Good people. Drum coach Samadi in the building. Damani Rhodes in the building.
You know what it is.
Casper, the friendly cameraman in the building, and
You-
tech support
You know what it is.
back home.
Yep, we ain't got no screen this time. We can look up and
Look up at the
See.
big screen.
yo, as you come in, man, let us know if you can hear us.
I know you can hear us, and if you can't, we don't care.
Wow.
We're done.
What's the point of having a podcast if they can't hear us?
So that they can go onto the app and hear us there.
Ah,
It's a Drum Tracks app. Over 150 play-alongs, over 300 video lessons. You can still stream tracks for free, but as far as video lessons go, you got to sign up for the membership.
sounds like you was about to preach, Bishop. We got an organ
I mean,
right behind us. I don't know about you, but if you feel something,
is my name is written in the book of life. In the book of all books. I don't know where your name will be written when it's all said and done, but
wow.
I'm in the Lamb book of life.
The Lamb book or the Lambs
Lambs
book? I'm in the Lamb book, bro.
Download the app, everybody. Do what you got to do.
Way too much
Google-
church,
Google's
bro.
not finished yet.
We've been to
It's
way
not
too
in the
much
store.
church. Oh yeah, that part.
It's not in the store, but
Jeez.
for all of you,
We're
Apple
working
users
on
out
it.
there, you can download that. For all of you Android users who've already had the app, it still works for you. And if you are not subscribed to the premium membership, you need to go ahead and upgrade your membership so you can watch some videos and get better as a drummer. I don't know. Practice. the
That
stuff
part.
we teach you.
It's quiet.
We have, of course, all kind of video lessons on there, but we have workout camps. The newest one is called Do the Work Camp. It's a 2-week program where you will see results in your drumming in 2 weeks. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, double say.
Wow.
What?
It's way too much church.
All right, so the topic of the day is a.
Wait, first of all, let's see if they can. Did they say they can hear us?
They can hear us. I see a bunch of yo fam. The cameras did. I mean, the laptop is further away.
Right. Can y'all hear us? Can y'all make sure? Okay. No. I got Sam Campbell says we can sound good. We sound
Okay.
good. So we good
We have to do all of your comments. We can't even stop in the middle of it.
because we can't see.
We can't see.
The
we're not-
computer's farther away.
So, the drummer, it's a controversial post
I was
By
gonna say what's
Drumeo
going
Grab.
on, Brody. well, you're still messing up words.
by Drumeo Gab. We also did a podcast. We were featured on Drumeo Gab. If you haven't checked that out, go to
Yeah,
the
check them
website
out.
and type in Drum Tracks app or even the Drum Coaches. It's all there. Check out our interview with him. Shout out to him. That's the
Seamus.
Seamus is the guy. So he was interviewing the owner of Drumeo, which is
Jared Falk.
Jared Falk, or the owner of all of
Musora.
that.
Yeah.
And he had a post on there talking about his perspective on what he practices.
Or if you
And
should
what he
be
teaches.
right. So like I stumbled across this post and I watched it and I was like, okay. Then I went to the comments and then I was like, wow. Wow.
There was definitely going
The
on.
comments was like it ranged from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
To some people who were strongly disagreed, angrily disagreed, and then you had some people who were super excited about the message. And at least I read a couple of, because it was mostly like people who were upset, but there was also a couple people who were like, "Oh, this is so liberating for me," right?
Yeah.
The
Let me give you guys just a
quick synopsis of the
paraphrase.
post. Yeah.
The whole thing was he says that he practices his strengths and doesn't work on his weaknesses because he doesn't need to work on his weaknesses, as far as like, okay, if you are a jazz drummer, why am I working on rock tunes that are like death metal music? Like I'm not gonna do it. I'm playing jazz. Why would I work on death metal music?
Right. One of the other things that he said that I think that made some people upset was he talked about how he notices that most teachers, when they're teaching a student, will assess their student, especially on the first lesson, and they'll find their weaknesses and then try to attack their weaknesses. And he says that he's moving away from that. And
yeah, I said
even
that in the beginning, I said what he practices and what he teaches.
oh yeah. And so he was like, instead of that, he's just focusing on his strength. So and to paraphrase, one of the examples that he specifically gave was like, if have a student that can't learn, he's trying to learn the flam tap or flam accent, yeah, and he just can't seem to get it, but he's doing well with the paradiddle. We'll just dive deeper into the paradiddle then, that type of thing. And the criticism, the backlash that some people were saying was like, well, no, listen, like, but you can't just let go of, learning the stuff that's hard because it's hard. You should still be trying to learn it because you need it. And then there are some people that was just like, well, I'm not trying to play that or that type of thing or that particular style or whatever. That's not what I'm trying to do anyway. So yeah, it's cool if I just focus on this over here. And so to me, I have my own opinions about it, but I would love to hear yours.
Mine's pretty short. I agree with him and I disagree with him. And I agree with the aspect of let me say it like this. First of all, you have to know what you want. If you,
it's quiet.
And
let's start right there. I felt something.
So if you know what you want, what you should, what first of all, go for that. Just do what you got to do to go for that, and don't care what other people think. Like, hey, listen, I want to wear a black shirt, and I want to wear a black shirt every day and no other color, and I'm fine with that. I'm happy with it. But in that same regard, this is what drummers tend to do who are like this. I shouldn't crucify you for wearing the gray shirt. And so drummers who just work on one thing, like I'm just
the pocket drummer. Go ahead. I'm just
talked about
throwing it out there. Go ahead.
What they do is they crucify other drummers
for not being like them. You're not gonna get any help.
I choose not to. Let's take Jared's saying. I choose to only work on paradiddles. I don't even want to wear. Who cares about flam accents? It's not me. But if I see someone else that plays a flam accent, I'm not saying that Jared did this at all.
Right.
But other drummers do this. If I see someone playing a flam accent, I'm going to appreciate the flam accent. Like, bro, I don't even work on that. That's fire. That's dope. That's
right. Versus just trying to down it because it's not what you're doing.
Yeah. It's like, nah, like, you know what you want, then work on that and be happy with it. It's cool. Like it's okay. I know that there's, one of my favorite drummers he plays left foot clave. And there's a lot of drummers who can play left foot clave. I don't work on left foot clave, and I'm probably not ever going to work on left foot clave. But I love the way it sounds when
someone else is doing
it. It's like, oh, this is fire. This is water. Ooh, but I don't get so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna start doing this now. I'm realistic.
You appreciate it, but you're not inspired to go work on it.
I'm good. I'm straight. And if I get a student that wants to work on it, I'm just gonna send them to a teacher that does that stuff. Like, hey, listen, you're better off over there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not going to I'm not going to force the way that I play or practice onto a student. It's like, hey, if you want to work on this, you can work on this. If you don't want to work on it, you don't want to work on it. Now, when he's talking about teaching, he says, this is the part where I agree and disagree. So that first part was I was disagreeing with him. This is where I agree and disagree. He said, just explore the paradiddle. Don't even teach them the flam accent because yada, yada, yada.
Right.
I agree with it because in my experience of teaching, students tend to fall off quicker when this stuff is too hard. Like most students are kids. The majority of the students, if you teach drum lessons, you're most likely teaching kids and a few adults. But even adults will fall off if you're giving them this crazy pattern that they have to do the work for, and they have a life. They didn't get as much practice time in. It's like, okay, well, this lesson, you're going to sit here for 30 minutes or to an hour, and we're going to go over the stuff you should have been doing all week. It gets boring very quickly. So it's like, well, let's not focus on the weaknesses. Let's get your strengths strengthened even more so that you're inspired to the point of you love to practice.
Right. You seeing some success.
I agree with him on that. The part I disagree is I will still show them other aspects of drumming. Like once we have mastered the paradiddle, like, oh, we done did all that. You are the man at this. Now let's move on to something you cannot do. And I will refer back to the paradiddle. I would probably even include the new rudiment within the paradiddle. Like, hey, remember this your thing. Remember that? And then we go blah 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 blah.
Try to throw it back in.
Just throw it back in. And I've seen that it does inspire kids that way.
And
I have kids that play. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say you're just about to add some you're gonna mix the vegetable juice in with some apple juice and to make it a little sweeter or something like that.
I have students when my students play. All of my students, I taught them how to shed because they gravitated towards drum licks. I said, okay, I'll teach you how to shed before you even know how to count 16th notes.
Right.
And then they learn how to count later, just like learn how to talk before you can read. And so most of my younger students tend to start all of their licks the same way, not the same as each other, but so if this one student will start everything off the snare, another student will start off the tom, another one will always play the stack that I put in the middle, another one will do floor tom. So it's like
but every time they play their lick, they started off
the same way. And so I'm like, hey, listen, you can do that. That's your thing, but I want you to start differently.
Right.
Now the second and third one, you can start the way woo, but that first one and the fourth one
started different.
So just give me something different. So that's why I'm like, I'm not gonna go, hey, cool, you're good at starting it on the snare. All your licks are starting on the snare now, and that's all we're doing. It's like, no, not quite. We're gonna go to the floor tom. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make you not play the snare ever. We're gonna do a whole trading back and forth where we're just playing toms.
No snare, yeah.
And then now that we've done that for a little bit, let's go back to being regular, because I just needed to show you that there's other options. And when you do it that way, or at least in my experience, when I've done it that way, they tend to start their licks differently. They're still kids, so they're still going to repeat themselves. I mean, adults repeat themselves.
Yeah.
Your favorite drummer
repeats himself.
He's just way better at it,
right?
Than we are.
You can he just masks it.
That's it. He just masks all of it, or her. You know, your favorite drummer could be a woman as well, and so they mask their repetitive things that they play. So that has worked for me. So that's where I disagree as far as the teaching aspect. It's like, yeah, strengthen their strengths to a certain point, and then you gotta introduce. You got to
give them the vegetables, man.
Yeah, you can't just give them candy all day, bro.
Right. I mean, so when I saw it, the only thing I felt was, number one, we saw a clip of a podcast.
We didn't watch the whole thing.
We did not hear the entire podcast, and I know from experience posting clips from our podcast onto Instagram how people will take out of context what they heard, and then the people who watched or listen to the whole podcast will end up having a different perspective.
You may want to. So if you ever cut up anything from this podcast, put that as the intro first, and then put, because they're gonna think if you put a part where I disagree with him there, it's gonna be like,
no, but you're saying, well, that's just framing and how you put it out. But at the end of the day, I think that it is definitely just about context. I agree in context. And I don't know what his context is or what the entire context is of that conversation, because I did not see the whole podcast. I haven't listened to the whole podcast. I do intend to listen to it. However, the context that I would put it in for myself is, I agree as long as you know what you want and you understand what the outcome of your actions are. So if my actions are, I'm not going to practice drum fill, that's what I love, and I just want to play the pocket, and I can play a couple of basic fills, and that's what I want to do. But my goal is to be a jazz fusion drummer in a jazz fusion band, but all I can do is play solid 2 and 4 on the snare. Then I need to adjust what I'm actually willing to do to see that result, or I need to adjust what my goal is, because what I'm doing is not going to get me there. So I think that, and I understand that I also agree, because every drummer is not trying to be a professional.
Facts.
Every drummer is not trying to become the next great. And they're okay with that.
Say yeah.
Matter of fact, we just had not just, but recently we had a podcast with Joseph Chin. He came on, and the clip that we posted was he was saying, I have accepted that I'm a hobbyist.
That's it.
And he's like, it's not that I'm not practicing and I'm not trying to get better, but bro, I'm not finna be Steve, or not Steve Gadd, but I'm not finna be Vinny.
Period.
I'm not finna be Dennis Chambers.
Yeah.
That's not even what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's cool. So as long as you understand what you want and what you're practicing is in relation to what you want, your end goal is, then you're fine. Now, if you want to be a working full-time musician that can get hired for many genres and styles and have that type of versatility, then at that point, that your goal is different. And so because your goal is different, then what you do, what you practice needs to be different. You need to have these different styles. You need to know your different rudiments. You need to know all of these things.
If that's what you want.
If that's what you want.
If you don't want it.
If that's not what if you are on any of these lesson websites or on the app, shout out to the app,
that part,
learning drums because you play in your local church and you just want your groove to feel better, or you just want, maybe you do want to be able to play a few more drum fills for the stuff that you're already doing. Cool. I understand if you're not going through our rudiment section, but you're going through the gospel concepts. I understand if you're working on your hand speed. I understand if you're doing the shed camp, but you're not going through our urban groove section. You see what I'm saying? Like, it makes a lot of sense.
Although
I actually also
if you
understand.
did them all, you'd be much better drummer.
But it's not about being a better drummer. I mean, it is. It's about being the better drummer that you are trying to become.
Yeah.
And I think that we see the Eric Moores, the Thomas Pridgens, the Ronald Bruners, the Chris Colemans, like all of these phenomenal drummers, and now even some of the younger, like the Mason Guidrys and the Mike Mitchells, and these guys are on fire. And then you can get even younger, and you see what's his name, Maurice. What's his Instagram name?
Maurice Fears,
from Chicago, murdering. Yeah. For how old is he? He's got to be like 11.
And Dominic McNabb, I follow him. He's 11.
It's just murdering.
He murdered the Aaron Spears inspired chop that I taught on Drum for Friday Wave, but he murdered it. Like, not only did he murder it, he played fills before and after it. Like, it was a solo.
Right, and he threw it in there.
He threw it in the middle clean, too. He even did this. He shared it back with Eric on a YouTube video or something like that. Like, he downloaded
the video and went back and forth with him.
I'm not talking 11-year-old chop, tack. And I'm like,
no.
I was like, bro, what is
listen,
all that?
They're getting younger and younger. Pretty soon we're gonna have 2-year-old drummers who are playing like grown men.
That part.
So
murdering.
You have all of these, we see all of that. And we think that now, okay, well, if you start to play the drums, that is the goal. And I'm like, it could be, and it's not bad if it is. If that's your goal, then you just have to understand the work that you have to put in to get there. But if that's not the goal, if the goal is I'm just doing this for fun and I really enjoy playing music and I want to be good enough to play with my band and I want to grow and I'm okay with growing at a slower pace, and hey, I don't have to be the independence master. I don't have to be the, where I can play 4-way independence like Juan Carlos, which is amazing, by the way. It's always been ridiculous to watch him do his 4-way independence. But that may not be your goal. You may not be like, hey, that's us talking about I want to master 4-way independence. We're gonna send you to Juan Carlos because he's the master at it.
Go over there with it.
And so at the end of the day, I think it boils down to what you want and what it takes to get to what you want. And so I understand, like, if you have a young student and you're a teacher, it's your job as a teacher to teach.
Yep.
You got to explore, you got to present to them the things that they didn't know. So I wouldn't say to a student who, like you said, who's learning the paradiddle, I'm not going to not teach him the 5-stroke. I'm going to still teach him the 5-stroke. Now, whether he uses it or not is his prerogative. But I'm still going to teach it.
Cap is my prerogative.
Wow. Shout out to Flip, right?
That's it.
Bro, I just listened. The church, side note, the church that I'm playing at is doing a Timothy Wright song. Nice. And bro, he 2/2'd with the backbeat on the snare for like 4 bars, bro. I was like, yo, this is one hell of a build-up. But anyway, I mean, it was
on the hands, 200 feet for those of you who don't know.
The video was like from like 19. No, he was like, you could tell he was doing it on one hand. He was like, but
I'm doing that lick on Instagram,
bro. It was from like 1980 something. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it was that lick that got me interested in drums when I was a kid. I seen somebody do it off the kick drum though. That's when he did it off the kick drum in the foot. I lost it. My 8-year-old self, 7-year-old self lost it when I saw that. I was like, yo, did you guys? I'm looking around like everybody else in the church, like,
did you not see what's happening right now?
It's ridiculous.
You need to play that specific lick on Instagram. I'm gonna do it off the floor time, but you do it off the kick drum.
I can't.
Oh, well.
I've never practiced it off the kick drum. It was so magical to me. I didn't want to learn it because then it would lose its magic. You know how that is?
Okay.
You learn something and then you'd be like, you know what? I know what it is.
That good.
I've been behind the curtain.
Oh my gosh.
We know who the wizard is.
Oh my goodness. I would say this. I think that the people who crucified Jarrett on there that was strongly disagreeing, I just don't think they respect him as a drummer. I think if it was their favorite drummer saying the same thing, then they would listen. Like, oh man, that's dope. Because it's like I just watched a video of Thomas Pridgen that was just posted. I don't know which YouTube channel it was on. It was either Zildjian or his own YouTube channel, but it popped up in my Explore page on YouTube, and it's 2 minutes of him playing groove.
Who playing groove?
Thomas Pridgen.
Thomas Pridgen.
And if he got on there and said some things like, "Yeah, man, I just want to focus on my groove on this video." For those of you who respect him and look up to him,
they're gonna say it's cool because at least we know you can.
Because we know you can't. We respect you as a drummer,
right?
But if he was a drummer that has never played any type of chops of any kind, and he didn't have a high profile gig, like that type of, if he's just a regular Joe Schmo of, oh, I ain't got no chops, they would be like, oh, because you're trash. You ain't got chops because you didn't practice them and you're not good enough. But if he was a Steve Jordan type, because it's funny how when they respect you, when I say respect you, it doesn't even have to be your skill level, just respect you as a human being,
right? Because here's the thing:
Steve Jordan played for John Mayer, and he's just a groover,
right?
Nate Smith, Nate Smith was killing. For those of you who don't know, Nate Smith he's a beast, but they respect the groove, and if they say just groove, exactly. See, that's how Pocket pays the bills and yada yada. Oh, you just respect him because if it's the same guy who has no gigs, the same guy who's a nobody, you don't respect his Thomas Pridgeon.
Right, but then you also have somebody that can blaze that's on a high profile gig too, who's like, yeah, I definitely play pocket, but I'm gonna play these licks too. And at the appropriate time and where they go. Because I mean, you see it all the time. But here's the thing: well, maybe not for this podcast, maybe another podcast, but I do want to have the Steve Gadd conversation because they brought up Steve Gadd in the post, and he said to him, Jared said that Steve Gadd is the prime example of taking his strengths and making them stronger. And I actually agree with that because Steve Gadd, he got famous from playing records, right?
Yes.
And all of
50 Ways groove is
so and I'm not knocking Steve Gadd. He has a bunch of dope records out, or he's on a bunch of dope records where his grooves have become iconic.
Yes.
And that is what it is. However, no one talks about the fact that when he did the drums battle with Vinny Colaiuta and Dave Weckl, it was an embarrassment, bro. Like, it was just like, okay, we could tell this is not the realm you're in. This is not. Why are you laughing like that?
Brody, that's bad, bro. I mean, you just threw him under the bus.
I'm not throwing him under the bus.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was
because nobody wants to have this conversation.
Okay, so what he did was,
and maybe
he showed up to the dunk contest
and he did
layups
all day.
And don't get it twisted.
Not even fancy layups, but just straight standard.
He made the bucket though,
bro. By the book,
he got
the ball went in the hoop. But but here's the thing:
off the glass.
When you're in the game, that's incredible. Those basics and the foundations and getting the ball in the bucket because you're trying to score points. But when it's a dunk contest, laying up the ball into the basket, it doesn't even matter if it's a fancy layup. It's not the point of the game. It's not the point of what we're doing right now. We're talking about two different things. So I mean, I get it, I guess. But what I'm saying is the thing that I agree with though is that Steve Gadd, what Jared was saying about Steve Gadd, I get it because I'm 100% sure that Steve Gadd was 100% okay with his playing. He didn't feel bad.
Right.
He was like, I'm doing records, I'm making music, and I'm making the music that I like.
And if he felt bad, he wouldn't have did the shit. He would say, hey guys, I'm gonna sit this one out. Y'all got it.
Right. It's like not even any knock to him. Mm-hmm. He's etched in history because of his contribution to music.
Yes.
But a lot of times, his contribution to popular music, and that's what's up. And a lot of times we look at that and we be like, oh, he can't chop though, or he didn't display that he can chop. So that must mean he's a terrible drummer. It's like, nah, he just went deep into what he was in his bag. But here's the thing. He was also around during an era of music where drummers were getting paid to record a lot.
Yeah.
It's not the case anymore. Most music is not made. Most popular music is not made with live drums. Mm-hmm. And if they are, maybe the Nashville guys in country music are doing that. But I mean, there's nothing distinct about those grooves. There's nothing special or unique. It's just you can get any Joe Schmo, in my opinion, to go play. I mean, as long as they have good timing and whatnot, which is a lot of them, a lot of drummers. But in today's era, it doesn't fly like that because you're not gonna just. I mean, Chris Dave, he's actually more than just grooves. He's ridiculous. So it's like, but he has his own voice, and that's where I feel like we're missing. I feel like that's the conversation that needs to be had. I feel like that's.
Have you heard Chris Dave Bacata like back in the 90s?
Yeah, when he was playing with a mint condition.
Oh my gosh, Brody knows how to. He knows how to do it all.
Yeah, he knows how to do it all. But he has found his voice, and he's went deep in that direction. This is really the main area where I would where I think the conversation should have went, or I think that maybe Jared was trying to say.
But we didn't see the whole podcast.
We didn't see the whole podcast, so maybe it got there.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is, it's not just about not strengthening your weaknesses or not or only strengthening your strength. I think it's about moving in the direction of finding your own voice, because it's still about art and creativity. It's still about having your identity as a musician, because you're trying to communicate something. And when you talk, you don't sound like me. And when I talk, I don't sound like you. Even if we say the same thing, we have two distinct different voices. There are different tonalities.
On today.
So what my point is I think that instead of saying to focus or not to focus on your strengths or your weaknesses or whatever the case, it's really to be finding your voice. That's why you learn all of these things, though, so that you can develop your voice. And so it gets, I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm in the middle like you.
I just think I think it's just subjective, where
depends on, yeah.
It's like, bro, if you don't want to work on it, don't work. It doesn't bother
me. I mean, it's drums.
Yeah, it's drums. It don't bother. If he just decided to play just snare for the rest of his life, I don't know.
Where some people were on their high horse because they're like, you guys have young children and impressionable people who are on your platform. It's so large, and you guys saying this is gonna steer them in the wrong direction.
Why you sound like an old
because it just starts to. And so I was like, okay, I can teach him how to swim. Just teach him how to run on the land and run and play in the sand. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like I would still teach my kid how to swim, though, because I feel like it's a necessity to learn.
Well, yeah, especially if they ever, I don't know,
find themselves in the water.
Find yourself in the water off of an accident, you're on a boat cruise and something happens.
Or you just had a party kicking it with your friends and you don't know, your friends may not know that you can't swim because you didn't bring it up, but they're just playing a prank and push you in the water.
And it's a wrap. I will at least teach my child how to tread water.
The basics.
You may not be.
You're not gonna be an Olympic swimmer.
You're not gonna be Michael Phelps, but you gonna survive.
You need to know how to float.
You need to know how to float.
So I get it. If you're introducing a child to, I think, like you said though in the beginning, anything when you're introducing someone to an instrument, drums, music, instruments. I know we say it's just drums, but the truth is, bro, this stuff is hard. It's not easy.
Right. Well, so in that case, then I would give them the basics of, okay, he's talking about a flam accent, a specific type of flam.
Correct. It was just an example, though. And again, we haven't listened to the entire podcast.
Well, I'll say even for me, even though I know all 40 rudiments, I don't sit down and just start working on lesson 25 and triple rattle cues. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I don't do that. I don't do that shift no more. It's ridiculous. Like, why? Who sits there? I don't do that.
I mean, especially if you're not using it.
I'm not using it at all. Now, at a time I did work on all of that stuff. But when it comes to these students, I do give them the basics where it's like, yo, everything consists of
singles, doubles, paradiddles, flams.
Flam, a single or a double, because paradiddle is singles and doubles.
Yeah, you're right. It's a combination of the two.
I will teach you how to flam. I may not teach you a flam paradiddle or a flam accent or an inverted flam tap, but what you will know how to do is flam, singles, and doubles. Now, you do any combination you want with them three, and you're good to go.
You're going to come up with a rudiment regardless.
Period.
Because that's all they are, is combinations of those things. Now, when I look at drummers, especially coming from the tradition of playing in church, black church, I must be specific.
Please do.
Whether it's Kojic, Pentecostal, Baptist, AME, most of the time, you'll see the creative drummers, they're playing crazy rudiments and combinations anyway.
That part.
But they didn't learn them that way. It was just a part of the culture of the music and how they interpreted what they were hearing in their head on the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was coming out of them and what they heard other drummers do, that's kind of how, like, because I'm telling you, this 8-year-old, this 10-year-old drummer doesn't know all the rudiments that we watch. He doesn't, when we watch him, he doesn't know all the rudiments, but he's playing stuff that those of us who are teaching it may not even be able to play.
Oh, we had a conversation with Eric, I believe it was off camera, where he said, he was like, yeah, no, I think you asked him when we were shooting the shed camp, you said, do you ever sit down and just pad and just go through all of the rudiments? He's like, Nah, I just play from the heart, and whatever comes out, it comes out. Can he play all of the rudiments? Sure. If I say, hey, listen, these are the notes for a lesson 25, or these are the notes for a type of rhythm cue or flam prayer, he'd be like, okay, so it's okay, I can do that.
And then he's gonna play it faster than we can play it.
That part is like, oh, so it's just this. Like, well, yeah.
Oh, it's that combination of singles and double strokes.
That's all it is.
And maybe a rough.
He already knew how to play it.
Yeah.
He just didn't know. Oh, that not only that, he didn't know that it was called this thing. And he didn't know
it's
that
quiet.
At this number.
All he knew was you better land on the one.
That's it, land on the one. Because a lot of these rudiments, they're like only 4 to 8 notes long, but he's playing 65 notes. So, hey, in that 65, 67, 123 note pattern that you just did, feel whatever you just did, there's groupings of 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s, and they're all different rudiments that you just don't know.
Right, and we haven't even talked about how deep you can go with one rudiment. Like if you take a rudiment like the paradiddle or even a double stroke, and not only learn it in these different subdivisions, but you start displacing things.
Oh God, it's a wrap.
You start displacing things. You start putting 3/4 over the 4/4. You start putting 7 over the 4 and trying to like superimpose other time. Like, well, you can get real creative. I mean, I guarantee you, someone who's playing the paradiddles who doesn't want to work on things that are new, when they start getting into that, they're probably going to not want to do that too. But
but I mean, even with the paradiddle, you could substitute as well. Like you can say, instead of left hand, I'm going to play kick drum. So paradiddle
start putting them between the limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like the most basic version of it.
Absolutely.
So I mean, but at the end of the day, I guess my point is, I guess both of our points, we kind of see it the same way. I guess I was thinking we may see it differently, but it starts off with what you want, starts off with what your goals are in and doing what is necessary to get there.
Oh, I see the name Sam Campbell at the bottom. I don't know what's been going on, but I think the deacon has been ministering to us with the closing of the service on today.
And we about at the end, man. So I'll go ahead. You want to go up there and start going?
Do I or do you?
You can go. You can go read the comments.
What you do?
No, I was saying you
go ahead and do what you do.
Oh, you don't want to read the comments? Going up there.
Water first.
Yep. Do your thing. Take your time, Bishop.
Still got to check Facebook side too.
Shout out to everyone on Facebook.
All right.
You want to hit Facebook first because they're usually shorter?
First of all, I'm firing Casper because he's supposed to read off the comments.
Y'all can't see Sticks right now because he's in front of the camera because their computer's far. Yeah, it's next time I won't be like this, but
you can hear me because Casper's off the gig. So we're gonna go to Facebook first. Oh, goodness gracious, what just happened?
There you go.
I'm not Mac savvy. Right. Oh, JG. I'm sorry.
JJ
McGee.
Come on.
He says, I was never aspiring to be a pro drummer. I just like the church group.
He said he liked the what? What'd he say, bro? I can't even.
I'll say it again. For those of you who need to hear this word on today, he wanted to be like Solomon, is basically what he's saying. I was never aspiring to be a pro drummer. I just like the church groupies. Come on, brother.
That alto section.
That alto section, brother. When they get the bumping and the shout starting, you see that thing moving.
It's quiet. Like, hey. Listen, they're not going to get no help. Hey, bro, I'm finna grab the seat right there. We could probably set the computer right here. You think it'll reach?
I don't know if
the audio joint, huh?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Because they should be able to see you. They need to be able to see your reactions.
Where can I find that shed? Oh, type in Vinny Caluta, Dave Weckl, and Steve Gadd.
Who's that to?
That is to Sam Rhodes. That must be your kinfolk.
I don't know relation. I don't know him. Maybe.
Kinfolk. Y'all
maybe.
Just tuned in. Sticks, can we get a happy new year? Happy New Year,
oh
baby!
My God. He's not even on the camera, bro.
Turn up! Happy New Year, baby! You know what it is!
What are we going to do? It is March. What is it? March the 3rd out here? The 4th? You are out of control, bro.
Oh, my goodness.
You need help.
Look at it on YouTube, Sam Rhodes. Fact, trying to be the best I can. Need all the lessons I can take. That's what Sam Rhodes said.
Hey.
Well, you definitely need to go to the app for that.
That's where it's at. We're going to start right there.
Okay. Wait. It says that we have more comments, but I'm only seeing.
Scroll down.
I did. Oh, that was it. Oh, that Devaris Coates. I hope their name is Coates or Coates. You guys just help break down my practicing. Just helped me.
Okay.
Typo. Well, it's okay. We helped you break down your practicing. Cool, Brody.
That's what's up.
Shout out to you. For those of you who have just tuned in, I'm off camera. Sticks is off camera. DrumCode Samadhi is off camera because Casper is fired. I'm reading the comments on the laptop. It's too far away for me to be on camera. Casper's off the gig. So let me go to the top of here.
Yeah,
people saying was good.
Shout outs.
Live, all of them. You know what it is. Yes, yes, yes. We know. We see all of you. Musa McGeanie says, I met Jarek Falk on Tuesday. They came through for a clinic. The dude is tight.
Okay. What is wrong with you, bro? Next comment, please. What are you doing?
Sam Campbell.
Okay.
Jared is also the guy that claimed you can get better in 10 days by not doing anything called the drum. Okay. Okay, I'm not reading that.
Read his comment.
No, I'm not reading that out. You are disrespectful, Sam. You are disrespectful. And he hashtagged it too. Oh my gosh. He did a hashtag.
Hey, you know what though? Shout out to Sam. Sam is a real one.
I'm not doing it.
You talk about support.
You can read that later.
You talk about support. Sam is a real one.
We are not reading
Sam be in people's comments.
You are. He's a whimmer. I rock with you, Brody, but we're going to talk about that all. Seth Jones, I have an up-and-coming show playing in front of 80,000 people. Any advice on overcoming the jitters and nervousness? Absolutely.
We did a whole Drum Tip Tuesday on that back in the day.
I was going to say
we did a podcast on it too, huh?
Yeah, that part. If you're backstage, I know you guys can't see me. If you're off stage,
just come over here so they can see you right quick.
No, it's cool. I'm good. Off stage, just go to the bathroom and pull up a pinky video.
Wow.
Sam Campbell says, practice like you're doing the show. He said it at Seth Jones, who asked that question. Practice like you're doing the show, so that part the show is easy.
I would say also try to envision it in your mind when you're practicing. Like literally, like if you got to close your eyes and see the audience, do what you got to do to visualize the real situation. And number one, prepare your tail off. And then after that, man, you got to lean on the fact that you've prepared, and you got to trust in that process.
That part.
But if you haven't prepared, then you have every reason in the world to be nervous because you're about to go out there and embarrass yourself and everyone you went to kindergarten with.
That part. Quentin Marcellus says, I'm late, just got off. Seems like you're all right on point. Yep, we all not after fame and fortune. Just growth and pleasure from playing music the correct way. Filling up space from a musical mindset.
I like these comments today.
Blake the Great. I just want to be musically and not overpowered the band. Okay, let me rephrase that for you. You just want to be musical and you don't want to overpower the band. Shout out to Blake the Great. He's been a long time follower.
Man, shout out to him.
He also said Gad knew he couldn't hang that night, so he had to groove hard like a stone.
Wow.
Man, you guys, you and Blake the Great are just shooting.
I love Stevie. The Groove, he's one of my favorites.
Sam Campbell has a bunch of comments here. I'm a proofread it first because the last one he said was so disrespectful. I can't do it. Okay. Oh, this is a question. This is a question. I think I'll ask it. But can you truly evolve into who you are supposed to be without struggle in learning something that is difficult?
Now, I do think that it all depends on if you're trying to become great. So once again, it's about what you want. If you are trying to become great, you will come up against things that are very difficult and you will have to overcome that. And so if it's in your playing, yeah, if you're trying to be great, and you're probably going to want to learn your flam accent.
Sam Campbell followed that up with saying, what happened? Let me say it in the preacher voice. What happens when you stand before God? And he asks you,
yes, sir.
What did you do with what I gave you? And you say, I took the easy way. And take the challenge.
Come on.
That you placed in front of me.
What else?
Both say, yeah, that's the end of the message. What are you going to say? When God says, what did you do with the talents that I gave you, Bishop? And your only answer is, I did not do anything. I took the easy way out. Is that going to be your answer?
Well, I mean, I guess if you're looking at it as taking the easy way out, if you're looking at it, I mean, I think it depends on what you want, though, right? And who's to say that drums is your only talent? But if you are trying to take the talent of drums and to grow it and to be I mean, but because even like when we say to be great, it's so relative, right? Because there's some people who will say that Buddy Rich is great, but we've even met musicians who are like, Buddy Rich was not great. And I'm not talking about just run of the mill, random lay musicians who are not that great. I'm talking about guys who are killing right now, who are on top right now, and they're like, yeah, nah. And I'm not just drummers. So I think that but still, for in my opinion, Buddy Rich has some of the fastest hands I've seen. And the rudiments and stuff, like he'll give you a solo on a snare.
Shut the fastest hand you've seen.
But I don't know. Okay. Wow. Wow. I'm gonna find Casper and bring him back because I'd rather have no one over there than you. Jeez, what is wrong with you?
Okay, we got 2 great comments. Dang, they're back to back, but I'll skip over one comment and come back to it because these comments are great. Hey, Sticks and Demani. Spells it D-E.
It's Demani, D-A. It's cool.
D-Manny.
I ain't gonna hold you, bro.
Demani, greetings from Jamaica. Come on, and the next comment by Smile Jamaica. He says, hey, Sticks, can you say that Jamaica thing again? Rolling the R, LOL. They asked for it, Bishop. I'm just giving the people. Come on, Bill Cosby, not the real Bill Cosby, but the Bill Cosby that follows us says, when you take the shortcut, in other words, not work on your weaknesses, you will end up taking the longest route.
Well, I think it depends on if you like, but what if you're not trying to even go the route?
Well, he says you don't want to be 20 or 30 years deep in the game and still can't apply a paradiddle. No, a paradiddle to a fill. It's just a paradiddle.
Right, but I think that there are some people who don't care about fills, right? We see them all the time that say they're pocket drummers. However, I do think the majority of them are insecure and they hate the fact that there are other people who can play fills and they hate seeing fills because they can't play them. But I mean, I guess, this is why I be torn about it, because I'm like, listen, if a person really knows what they want and they know that they care nothing about fills, if they know what they want and they know that they don't care anything about Latin music, if they know what they want and they know that they don't care about doing 4-way independence, then they're not even trying to travel down that road. However, if they are trying to like be something that they're not working towards, then we have a problem. Well, now it's not just not strengthening your weaknesses. Now you're just being delusional. And you're being delusional because you haven't accepted the fact that you're never going to get to where you say you're going because you're actually not even going in the direction.
Because you guys don't practice.
It's quiet. Drums. Anyway, so go ahead with the next.
Before I close it out with our deacon and minister on staff, Sam Campbell. Musa Mujini says, Sticks, tell D to look at the IG message I sent him. Brody, you just be ignoring your followers and fans.
It's not true.
It's cool, fam.
I don't have a message from him.
It's cool,
bro. He must be new. He must have just sent it.
Sticks, where do you find that podcast you spoke about? It's Drumeo Gab. Just type in Drumeo Gab podcast on Google. Drumeo Gab, G-A-B.
Right, but you can see the clip on their Instagram. The clip is called, the caption says,
talking about our I think he's talking about
our podcast. Oh, okay, yeah.
Go to Drumeo Gab's website and then scroll down until you find us. Okay, Sam Campbell, lesson of the day: improve your weaknesses. Just as bad as you want to constantly to play on strengths. Your weaknesses will improve your strengths and will eventually become strengths for you. Ayabase. So basically, if you work on your weaknesses, your strengths will improve.
Yep, I just looked at Musa's comment because he just or his message. He just DM'd me. I think I don't know if he's
high out of his mind.
No, he's going live. I think he went live with the podcast on his Instagram. Like he was watching it and he went live and it was, I guess, had the screen showing. And Jared Falk apparently commented. He screenshotted it. Jared Falk commented on the podcast.
You are so cool.
He said, "Yep, so cool."
What did he tag him in it?
No, okay. I'm gonna say it again.
I know. So Jared Falk.
No. Musa was screen recording or went live on Instagram and had his camera on the
on us.
On us. At least that's what it looks like.
Yes, but Jared Falk commented on his thing.
Looks like it.
What? So that must.
I mean, I don't know if he went live. I don't know what he did. Musa, what'd you do? How did this work?
He must have tagged Jared Falk for him to see it.
I don't know what happened, but he says, "Isn't that crazy?"
It's wild, bro. Hey! people watching and only 15 likes. That's nuts. I don't understand. There's just no support.
So, but at the end of the day, man,
at the end of the day, we're done.
It is what it is.
Go home, go practice, go work on your strengths if you want to. Go work on your weaknesses if you want to. And
if whatever you want to work on, whatever you want to work on,
if you want to,
and anything that you want to work on, you can work on it on the app. So let's
if you want to,
we'll be right here. So we'll catch you guys on the next one.
If you don't want to,
all right, anyway. Jesus Christ, Brody,
download the app anyway.
Okay, all right,
and your
are you finished?
No, I'm not done.
Okay, because you just said it was over. Now you want to keep talking. Because it's now bumping your gums.
It's now time.
Oh my God.
Offering.
Well, listen.
The songwriter wrote, "If you want to be blessed,
you go ahead and finish this one.
You pay your tithes and your offering, and if you want more, you give it to the Lord. And the Lord is at the Drum Tracks app. So download the app. That's right, and pay us all of your money.
Brody, we're done. It's over. Hit the button. Turn the joint off.
Listen, I want you guys to pay us $850 a month.
Wow.
Every month. I stand by it.
You on the next one.
I stand by it.
Peace out, man.
It's not working.
Peace out to the YouTube side, man.
So
Appreciate y'all.
If it's not working. You should pay us $900.
Appreciate y'all. Don't listen to this guy.
Well, Facebook is still here.